Okay, I'm just fed up with this. The world has changed, but well, maybe this is just me. I think it's you too. Some key things are actually the same. They just don't look it. The thing that's the same is we are not writing enough. And yes, there's all this going on. But ultimately, aren't there still just two reasons why we're not writing? One being other people, and one being ourselves. I think the balance may have changed a lot. If you're now looking after someone much more than you were, for instance, well, that's huge. If you're furloughed, possibly you'll think about going utterly insane before you think about writing. And if you get through this coronavirus outbreak without having written a great novel or a fantastic script, so what? You'll have got through this, and that is all that matters. But I'm fed up of this. Let's take this apart. I've some thoughts for you about writing while looking after other people, but I'll tell you now, I'm going to deal with that in a brand new video course that I'm making. It's coming very soon, not quite sure when yet, but really soon, and of course I'll tell you more about it as soon as I can. However, in 58 Keys, this week and next, I want 58 Keys to expand a little. It'll still be about writers who use Macs and iPhones and iPads, but it will be for getting started writing during all this, moving on during all this, getting something done during all this. For this reason, and only this reason, while I do not care whether you come up with a new novel by the time this is over, I do know I'm finding I'm substantially more relaxed when I am in a script, in a story. We're writers, so we can create worlds to escape into. So let's. This week will be about just grabbing ideas out of this mess, putting them together, seeing how the stupidness in our heads can come up with something that we can then work on, something we can mould together. Next week, we will go over doing all of this writing while also handling everything else that's going on. Yeah, that's all, just everything else, okay? In other words, actually, this week, it's mind mapping with MindNode, an app I love. And next week is sorting out our entire lives with OmniFocus. If it's possible to love an app even more, that's the one. This is MindNode running on a Mac. Okay, now actually it's also available on iPhones and iPads and so many other mind mapping tools. There's a particularly good one called XMind, but I like MindNode the best. And here's one reason why. My maps are visual things, they're maps, they're images. MindNode, fully visual, fully a map, but it lets me start by just bashing in some text. So up here in the menu bar, there's a quick entry icon. The iPhone and the iPad have the same thing, just as an icon on their front screen. And let's use this. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to show you now. None. Let's make up a story, since I've got nothing else anyway. So bank robbery, or even robbery. Okay, I'm going to have everybody did it. The whole staff. That doesn't seem likely, does it? Got to be someone who isn't in on it. Someone left out, someone new. I have this idea. I love, you know, with emails, you can have a group email sent to everybody. I'd like group email -1. I've no idea where I'll use that, but it's been in my head for years. Actually, someone gets the WhatsApp chat they shouldn't. Okay. What else? What are they going to steal? I have no idea. What's in a bank, a physical bank these days? Victimless crime makes me think there's no such thing, but also, whoops. I don't know, we could go on like this for ages, and I'm really hoping that I sped up the video so you could see me zoom through this. Here's a button I like a good button. Create mind map. Let's just get this into some kind of viewable thing. All right, that's a bit of a mess, really. Okay, although, let's start messing things around. Bank robbery is the central part. What makes them rob the bank now? I think if we put that there, that's interesting, going to be followed. Okay. Characters are essential, of course they are. I feel like we're talking about plot here, but by this I'm finding which characters and what about those characters would work best in the situation. I'm kind of divining the characters. There's a character, Susan, good or bad, but we'll definitely need a baddie in there, obviously linked to there. Well, what are they going to steal? That's kind of key. No, I've actually changed my mind about that. What makes them rob the bank now? I think, is that linked to that? I don't know. I have a feeling it is, and that's led us off into all sorts of stuff. Let's make this full screen so you can see the whole thing in one go. All right, there is a map of a story. It's not the map of a story. It's a map of what's in my head about a story, and it feels like it's only the start. I look at that, and there's no possible way to think that it's a 3-act structure, and so what? What I'm doing is I'm not trying to outline a story. I'm trying to explore an idea. I mean, that's what would be true whenever we were doing this. But in the middle of the coronavirus outbreak, what I'm also trying to do is get something else in my head. I've got this in front of me. I'm analysing it. I'm thinking about it. I'm not thinking about anything else. This is a cathartic way of writing a story, I think. It's actually similar. It reminds me of 58 Keys I did about an app called Omni Outliner, which actually is so useful, it comes up in all sorts of things. I did something very similar to this in Omni Outliner, which was a text, like an outline thing, rather than a graphic and image stuff. You saw just how easily I move things around. For this idea, at this time, with us, this felt like the way to do it. But a thing I particularly like about MindNode is that I can do this. Actually, let me go back to this, and I'm going to export. It's a format called OPML. You know that Word has a format called .docx. There's rich text format, there's plain text. Photoshop has a format. OPML. The ML is markup language. Can't remember the other two. OPML is the format for mind maps. If I do that, and we'll save this as bank robbery on my desktop. Let's open up on the outliner over here. There it is. Doesn't look very similar, does it? But under this disclosure triangle, all of these options, do they get away with it? Maybe they get away, what's the implication? And so on, like that. And actually, it's weirdly, the moment I'm thinking about this, I know that really belongs up there. I do care about the tools that we use. The whole point of 58 Keys is that there are these tools to help writers with iPhones and iPads and Macs, and MindNode and there on the outliner, they're two of the absolute best. I adore them. Not sure I could actually do the work I do without those apps. That's how important they are to me as a writer. Neither of them are particularly writing tools, though. They're ideas managers. I use MindNode certainly once a year for the kind of what in the world am I going to do next year plan. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year when there's an idea that's particularly big or just messy in my head. I'm working on a novel now where I know so much about the characters that I don't want to lose any of that. And it's become a way of just getting it all down, and I'll worry about it later and I'll use it later, or I won't. I will capture it and explore ideas with it. That's the thing here. We're exploring ideas. The next thing we have to do is go write something. And yes, I will take that and I will come up with 11 billion other ideas along the way as I write the story. It's not a final plan. It's not even genuinely a map of the whole story. It's enough to get me going, and it's more than enough to distract me from everything. So mind mapping ideas and just getting going with something. Give it a go. You can do this on paper, by the way, pen and paper. The trouble is, you saw how this one expanded out to the sides. If you do this on paper, you know this is true. You're going to run out. You'll be writing in the corners, adding, yeah, it gets messy. My note has an infinite canvas. I could have gone on forever and then rearrange things and move them around as I need. I feel like it's, yes, it's in front of you in the screen, but really it's in your head and you're manipulating your head for it. That's why I quite like doing my maps. This is why I must do them on Macs and iPhones and iPads rather than paper. The point though is to get going. I know how you're feeling because I'm feeling the same way. I was actually paralysed for, I can't even think, a couple of weeks of the lockdown. I was commissioned, so I was writing things I was commissioned to do, but coming up with something new, something different. Everybody telling me that I ought to. You've got all this time, and of course you're a writer. You must be used to self-isolating. All that bollocks. I'm now ready, I think, and doing things like this at all. I mean, I genuinely just cooked that up. Sorry, I genuinely concocted all of that right in front of you. I had none of those ideas beforehand, but there is a script I'm working on. I can't show it to you, so I had to do a new one. I've used these same things to help me get through that. And we just need a little help. We are writers. We can create these worlds and we can escape into them. It's just sometimes, I don't know, we need a ferry to get there. Okay, 58 keys about ferries for Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do you remember that next week we're just going to sort out the entire world? Yeah, that's easy. No, it's a big ask, but we can cope with that. Also remember, there will be a video course coming up that's more specifically about how to get started. It's like using this time to write boot camp kind of thing. Details on that as soon as I can possibly get them to you. But for the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Take care now. I'll see you soon.